How's it going, everybody? It is Pilot Flame, and we are back with the deadline stream. And for the next few Fridays, for the foreseeable future, at least with my schedule, I'm going to be able to do them 1 hour before the actual deadline, which is nice. I know that there will be some people in the UK that'll be just getting home and that sort of stuff. People in our friends from Norway, as it were, it'd be around like what 6:30 now. So it's a nice time. It's not 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, or whatever it would be. So yeah, we're back for deadline stream Gameweek 31. I've done a bit of a madness. The title of the stream is "I Have a Plan." ... So we'll see what the first phase of that plan is. It's a bit of upside chasing. It may hurt me, but we will see how it goes. The only thing I haven't decided yet is my captain, but I have made the transfers for this game. We'll take a look at those. We'll take a look at the goals imminent tamos per usual. And we'll kind of figure out what captaincy choices we'll be looking at as well. Also want to keep one eye on over on Twitter. Just so I can see if we will go over Mark FF Scout Mark's wildcard team as well as his wildcard team if he posts it. Yes, he has posted it as well, so we'll be taking a look at that as well. So that should be quite interesting. So yeah, so without further ado, let's see what transfers I made. So that is the team up on the screen there. And yeah, so it is quite interesting. I went with 3 transfers, so we took a -8. We brought in Jota, we brought in Saka, and we brought in Callum Wilson for Watkins, for Gundogan, and for Adamana Lookman. So the reason behind these is a fewfold. One, I'm going to want Jota in anyway for the long term because I think he's just that good. And he has a great run of fixtures as Liverpool do. And eventually want to have the double up with him and Salah. It's pretty straightforward. And I could have done him for Lookman straight up. No questions asked there. This week I could have also done Lookman to Saka, which was what I initially intended as well. Someone who's a little bit of a cheap enabler, someone who has a couple, few good fixtures over the next 5 game weeks. Is probably going to play game in, game out, and allows me to have a midfielder in there that basically isn't Rafinha for the next few. So like when we see Rafinha's fixtures, start to get good from like 34 onwards, Saka's get worse. And go for like after like 34 and 35. Chelsea isn't great. Brighton could be tough. Everton isn't great. But they do have a few good fixtures, and then we can start playing Rafinha again, basically. And then the last one, Callum Wilson, was just kind of a situation where I was like, I want to go for something a little bit different this week. Callum Wilson's back. The last time he played Burnley, he absolutely slaughtered them with 2 goals and an assist. Maybe I go there and get a bit of a differential. He's good for the next probably a couple of weeks. So West Ham and Burnley, he could potentially do well in both of those games. He scored against both the teams that he will be playing in those 2 fixtures. Liverpool away, you never know. With Liverpool's form. Arsenal could potentially score versus them as well. Leicester, Man City are going to be tough. And then the last 2 fixtures are quite good. So really it's only just the 35 and 36. 35, I'm probably going to be using the free... 35 or 36. One of those 2 weeks is going to be a week where I've decided basically that I'm going to save the free hit till then. And I'm not going to use the free hit in 33. And that's because they could potentially have doubles there, which I could then alter my team and that sort of stuff. To do that. So yeah, it should be quite interesting. No TA, I think you should have brought him in instead of Wilson. So with the way my transfers worked out, I couldn't bring in Jota and Trent Alexander-Arnold unless I spent an extra 2. So like Watkins to Wilson was it was the same price, so I could do I could do any of those, but I couldn't do, let's say, I could do, could I? How much money did I have? I could have done Azpilicueta specifically, or Cresswell specifically, to Trent. I couldn't do Shaw straight to Trent. That would have been the one thing I would have potentially considered, but I couldn't do it in one move, which is, unfortunate. I could have done Shaw to Trent, Gundogan to Saka, but that would have still left me with Lookman, who's still potentially injured, and then I still wouldn't have Jota, who I wanted more than Trent anyway. So we'll see. I'm still not convinced on Liverpool's defense by any stretch of the imagination. Trent was definitely exposed versus a Real Madrid, so could be a bit of an issue. If you have Antonio and Watkins, who would you get rid for Iheanacho? Antonio, because he's not going to play. Antonio is probably pretty much done for the majority of the remaining game weeks, by the sounds of it, which is a bit unfortunate for West Ham, which may cause them some problems. It may cause them some problems. Maybe Jesse Lingard's form drops off because there's no target man to hit. Who knows? I mean, there's been reports that West Ham are looking at Tammy Abraham, basically somebody who's not getting any game time under Thomas Tuchel. So maybe that's who they go for next season as kind of like a younger, more prosperous, really like target man, forward man type of player. He's also English as well, which helps because him and Jesse Lingard will potentially be in the England setup if they do well. So that could be something for next season. But yeah, Antonio I would definitely get rid of for sure. But yeah, so with the team and the so basically I'm covered on that front. Next week in 32, I can save a transfer if I want. I'll have to play Martinez versus Man City, or I'll have to play Areola versus Arsenal, which both of those aren't great, but the team will be solid. So I think that's still fine. Yes, I'll have Cresswell versus Wilson, but that doesn't really faze me too much. Like I have Shaw versus Kane and Son. I expect my defender to go for an attacking return unless it's like an Azpilicueta type player. But then in 33, what we can do is, since Son doesn't play, we can get rid of Son. We can get rid of Azpilicueta because he doesn't have any more good fixtures. Because West Ham, they'll probably concede. Yeah, he has Fulham, but then he has Man City, Arsenal, Leicester, and Aston Villa, and they could still be in Europe, so that could potentially make them a little bit weaker. I can then go for the likes of Salah, bring him in for 33, and then I'm not sure if there is a dud defender that costs 3.7. There isn't, so I'd be 0.1 off. I'd have to hope that another defender drops, or Salah drops in price. Let's say he has a bad week and he drops down, or the Azpilicueta I get an additional 0.1. If people buy Azpilicueta and I get an additional 0.1, then I can do it in one or in two frees. Otherwise, what I would do is I would probably just do something like target to Cody or something like that, because Cody's 0.1 less, and then I could just have a dud defender on the bench. And I'm perfectly fine with that. Like, if Aina needs to come in every now and again, sure. But for most weeks, I'm going to play Cresswell, Shaw, and Cody as an example. And it allows me to get Salah for, for -4. Obviously, if I get some money in Azpilicueta, then that's fine too. The other way I could also do it is I could keep target. I could get rid of Azpilicueta. I would then downgrade Martinez. But the thing is, I kind of still want to keep Martinez because, 33 is looking okay. He's almost certainly going to have a double at some point. And I think he's just he's good. I'm considering playing Martinez versus Man City at home, which seems nuts. But the dude just gets points. How often does he get 1, 0, or 2 points, let's say? So let's see. So 1-0. So I'm going to count every time he gets 2 points or less versus any team. So if I say 1-0, that means he's gotten more than 2 points in So how many game weeks has he played? He's played, what's that? We'll say hypothetically 30 weeks, because it's like 29 or 30 weeks. He's gotten 0, 1, or 2 points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So he averaged like 2/3 of his games, basically. He averages 3 or more points, which is better than you can expect for a goalkeeper. That's insane. So I'm going to probably keep Martinez, personally. I was thinking about toying with the idea of Fabianski, but now with Antonio out, that kind of puts more pressure on their defense, because they don't have a man who can really hit, like, you can put the ball up to him. So it should be quite difficult. Also, let me know what you guys are thinking in the chat in terms of captaincies, because I think it's wide open this week. I think if you have Salah, I think that's pretty straightforward. De Bruyne is an outside shout, but again, that's Pep Roulette. Spurs and United play against each other, so Fernandes versus Kane there. Vardy's versus West Ham. Is he going to get the space? Maybe. It's going to be tough. Who would you think would start for City's defense? I have Stones, Cancelo, and Gundogan. Tempted to get rid of one of them this week. I think Cancelo might play, actually. I think Cancelo might play. So with Pep Roulette, I think it's a bit weird. I think he's going to go something similar to what he played last time. So I think he's probably going to play Mendy at left back. Maybe he rests Kyle Walker because he played 2-2, and then he plays Cancelo. Because Cancelo didn't play versus Leicester. So I think maybe he plays Cancelo. Maybe he plays Zinchenko. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he plays like Mendy and then the 3 center backs. Stones, Diaz, and Laporte. Probably not likely. Maybe he could play Ake as well. But Stones is definitely a risk. Gundogan is probably a risk. Cancelo's even still a slight risk. I think he plays one of Gundogan or De Bruyne. I think De Bruyne is more likely though. So it is a bit tough. I would say if there's a player that you can get rid of this week, I would probably say, like, I like Gundogan versus Leeds, and I think I had him in my predicted Pep lineup, but again, you just never know. And if there's players out there like Jota, like Saka, like Lingard, these like mid-priced, like cheaper midfielders, that are going to play pretty much. And even Jota, if he comes off the bench, he's still going to hurt teams. Saka, he's going to play, so he's going to hurt teams. Lingard's going to play, he's going to hurt teams. So it is a bit tricky, but I would say Stones probably first, just because I think he's going to be Champions League specific. Because I think Laporte pretty much plays every Premier League game, and then Diaz is probably second fiddle to that, but it's tough there. Is Shaw a really good pick? I'm very unsure to keep him on my wild card. I think so. I think Shaw is a good pick, mainly because even if United just seem to get clean sheets for no reason. Like, it doesn't make sense, because as a United fan who watches them game in, game out, I don't think our defense is very good, but Shaw is also very good attacking. I think, Shaw came off at halftime. Solskjaer said it was like a knock or something like that, and it was a precautionary thing. So I think he still plays versus Spurs. And then he has Burnley and Leeds, which are good fixtures. Liverpool, Aston Villa, Leicester are probably a bit tricky. But Fulham and Wolves should be clean sheets and should be pretty straightforward as well. And he's also got potentially for attacking returns as well. He's done quite good with that. I think he has the most chances created out of any defender in the league, so which is a reason I would keep him. He's flagged, like I said, at the moment, but I would definitely have him. I mean, he's what, 5? How much is he? 5.3. I mean, he's still fairly cheap as well. Like, he's going to be cheaper than pretty much every Chelsea defender apart from Rudiger. He's cheaper than Cresswell. He's cheaper than all the City defenders. He's cheaper than the Leicester defenders. Or he's around the similar price. Fofana's what, 5 million, I think. I think he should be in pretty much everybody's wild cards, I think. But maybe the injury, like, him being flagged, maybe puts you off for this week, mainly because he obviously plays Spurs as well. But yeah, I think he's good. Like, if I look at Cresswell and I look at Shaw, I say, okay, this week they're probably not going to get clean sheets, but I know that Leicester aren't very good defensively on set pieces. And neither are Spurs. So, and Shaw takes corners for United from one side, and Cresswell takes corners for West Ham. So that's what you're gonna have to look at it. Will Amartey play? It's possible he plays in a back three. It's possible he plays in a back three because Soyuncu is, or Soyuncu, however you want to pronounce it, is out. So I can see like Evans if he's fit, Fofana and Amartey in like a back three with like Castagne on one side and like Albrighton on the other. Ndidi and Tielemans, Madison in behind, and then Iheanacho and Vardy. Something like that is probably what Brendan Rodgers is probably going to go with. But I can't guarantee Amartey's, like ability to play after this week because Soyuncu, I think it was just because like someone near him or he tested positive for COVID, but he should be back like soon. Like apparently he's like almost back basically. So we'll have to see. Mendy, Stones, Cancelo, Target, Veltman, Strauch, Gundogan, Bale, Jota, Bruno, Rafinha, Antonio, Kane, Watkins. I already made a transfer. Lookman for Jota. Should I bring in Iheanacho and TA for -8? What do you think? It depends on how much money you have in the bank, personally. Because I think if you have enough money in the bank, I would say getting rid of Bale is probably your best shout. Because I don't think Bale plays versus United. And then they have a double, but I think Bale's going to be bench-ridden again, basically. It's unfortunate to see how things have panned out. When he was starting, he was doing good, but now I don't think Mourinho trusts him. And Mourinho's back is up against the wall, and he needs results. He ain't going to play players that don't track back, which Bale doesn't. But if you have enough money to go straight from Bale to Salah after your transfer, I would say that's probably worth a -4 for sure. And then you can captain Salah. I think hits are definitely worth for captaincy options. So like Jota as an example, I'm potentially going to be captaining him, and I think he's a very worthy captaincy option. I would take a hit to bring him in. Saka was the free transfer, and Wilson I brought the hit in. It did the hit because one, Watkins' fixtures aren't very good. He has Liverpool and Man City in the next two, and I think Wilson, who scored against two opponents and he plays in the next two, can definitely make up that deficit. And Wilson is a differential, especially for this week as he plays Burnley, who haven't been defending well at all. So we will see on that front. Hey Oliver, how's it going? Would you play Fofana or Kabak? Probably Kabak, honestly. That's kind of tough because you think Fofana's probably not going to get anything from a set piece. You're thinking, is he going to get a clean sheet versus West Ham? Kabak's probably more likely to get a clean sheet, I would say. But it's tough. It's definitely tough. Kind of want to get KDB in on the wild card and sell next round. So for Son and then Son for Rashford in 33, but I feel like that's a waste. No, I've seen people setting up wildcards where they have like Sterling as an example as a 1 week punt for somebody who he should be quite fresh and played the Leeds game the last fixture. I think Pep will like that type of player in the Leeds game because I don't think Sterling starts versus Dortmund in midweek. So, excuse me. He can get away with that. As long as you don't cut it close. So you don't want to be like, oh, I have 0.1 in the bank extra on top of the money that I have to just get Salah from Sterling as a one. And like if Salah goes up like by if Salah goes up by 0.1 or 0.2, will you be priced out? You need to make sure that you have a little bit extra. I always say like 0.3 is like the comfort zone, basically. But I think that's fine. Now, whether you get Rashford in 33, I think that could be a bit of a risk because Rashford could basically just be injured for the rest of the season at any point, basically, which is a bit of a problem. I'm replacing Fernandes to Salah in Gameweek 33 and tripling up on Liverpool assets. Okay, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. And then you could bring back Fernandes for back for the last 2 game weeks of the season or something like that. You know. Yeah, that was my thinking. So I played Quebec. Yeah, I think that's fine, Oliver. I think it's fine. If I go KDB, I will have 8.8 for a defender and a striker. Could go for Amarty and Davis. I don't really like that too much. Don't think I like that too much, because then Amarty basically becomes a dud defender after this week potentially, and then Davis obviously isn't, you know, he's going to come on and get 1 point maybe. So it's a bit tricky. Rashford versus Leeds, my thought. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely possible, but again, I don't know when is the Europa League semi-final. So let's say United makes it through. Europa League. So Europa League. The semis are on the 29th. So when is that? Okay, so it'd be midweek after the Leeds game. So it'd be midweek after the Leeds game. And then it would be midweek after the Liverpool game. So, yeah, I think that should be fine for the Leeds game. The Liverpool game would be a bit of a potentially a problem. Mind you, he'll probably get himself up for that as well, but we don't know. We don't know. But yeah, he has been nursing an ankle injury. So yeah, just be careful of that. Am I wildcarding? Nope, but I made 3 transfers. So those that were joining late, I brought in Jota for Lookman. I brought in Saka for Gundogan, and I brought in Wilson for Watkins for a -8. I was always going to bring in either Saka or Jota, or potentially both. I just feel that I'm still wary that Gundogan might not play versus Leeds. I like the prospect of it. I like the fact that he could be a captaincy shout this week, but I don't think he's gonna play. In my opinion. Whereas Jota, if he doesn't start, I think he still comes off the bench and can do damage. Which is why I still might change the captaincy from Jota. But we'll have to still see on that. But yeah, I have my free hit set for 35 or 36 whenever that double is going to be scheduled, because they're moving fixtures so that there's going to be home fans basically for at least 1 game before the end of the season for every team. So we need to I'm basically saving the free hit for that. Whenever that happens, I want to be there for the doubles, because there's going to be blanks to follow. So it's either going to be doubles in the 35 and blanks in the 36, or blanks in the 35 and doubles in the 36. So I want to be there for the doubles and the blanks to cover that. So I either use the free hit for the blank or the free hit for the doubles, either or in that case. We'll just have to see how my team pans out. And the triple captain's going to be probably on Kane next week. Because I think Everton at Goodison Park just seems like pretty easy stuff for Spurs, and then Southampton at home seems pretty good too. So, or Vidra and Strauch / Amarte don't need a defender to play. I mean, Vidra's probably a good shot. I forgot about him. He's 4.8. Yeah, it's probably not. It's if you go Vidra, then maybe it's okay. Thoughts on getting Danny Ings for a possible double game week instead of Werner and replacing Foden with Maddison? Sounds good to me, to be honest. If Danny Ings is... You can also have Danny Ings as a placeholder if you have enough money like saved to go to Vardy the following week. And then you just have Vardy for this run. West Brom, Crystal Palace, Southampton, Newcastle. Seems good. This has been the hardest week for decisions for the wild card, as I'm rolling into bench boost in 32. We'll remove 2 Spurs players then for 33. Could you take a look at mine? Sure. Just post it in the chat. And we'll take a look. Will KDB start? Might even go for Sterling and then upgrade a Marte development. Yeah, that's another thing. As long as you have... as long as you know, like, if Sterling's my 1 week punt and I'm getting rid of him, as long as I have enough money to go to the Salahs, the Brunos, the whoever you want to go for, just make sure you have that in mind with like an extra 0.2, 0.3 for price rise variance, right? Because remember, a lot of people are going to be bringing in Salah. They're going to be bringing in Bruno. They're going to be bringing in Vardy. They're going to be bringing these sorts of players, so you need to make sure that you still have a little bit of a cushion in the event, price rises were to basically keep you out of it. Will be Sterling / KDB to Son next round. Okay, so you're downgrading there, which is fine. But I'm saying for the following week after that, if you're going from Son up to somebody, then you need to be careful. Or if you're just hanging on to Son, then whatever. Because he has a blank, and then he has 2 good fixtures afterwards. Because he plays, Sheffield United and Leeds, yeah. Wolves at home's probably okay for Spurs. Aston Villa at home is probably okay as well. Spurs have a decent run, too. I will have Salah and Bruno on my wild card. Oh, okay, well then, yeah, you're fine. You're perfectly fine. So that means you're probably going without Vardy then, and you're just sticking with Iheanacho, which is fine. So it's whether Sterling or KDB start, and then my first sub defender for the bench in 33. Yeah, no Vardy. Okay, I mean that's perfectly fine. I agree with that. Patricio plus Lloris, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Shaw, Fofana, Holding, Cody, Bruno, Neto, Son, Lingard, Jota, Lacazette, Kane, Iheanacho. Yeah, I think that team's fine. For the bench boost, you're looking pretty good as well. What is it? Bench boost in 32. So 32 would be looking... You got triple Spurs, which is nice. You got Arsenal versus Fulham. Iheanacho is playing West Brom. That's good. Liverpool play Leeds. Great. West Ham play Newcastle. Fantastic. Neto plays Sheffield United. Bruno plays Burnley, which is good. Obviously, Wolves versus Sheffield. Holding, again, Fulham. Fofana, West Brom. Shaw, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think that's a very good wild card for bench boost in 32. I think it's great. You can roll a transfer, not have to worry about that, and then you're good to go. I think that's a pretty good draft. I like Fofana a lot. I think for 5 million, maybe not necessarily for this week, but for next week, yeah. And the run of fixtures, I think he could be good. Patricio, you have a goalkeeper for the blank as well. The punt on Lacazette. Is he a bit of a risk this week? Possibly, but next week probably not. It seems like him and Aubameyang rotate. But I think Lacazette's been pretty good recently, so yeah. I think also who else has a good fixture? Instead of Lacazette, you can go for like potentially a different forward as well. But that's just nitpicking. If you had a little bit extra funds, obviously go to Vardy, and that would make sense. But yeah. Yeah, that seems pretty good for the bench boost in 32. Seems real good. Like, because if you think, who would you normally play? Would you normally play Lloris versus away to Everton, or would you play Patricio versus, Sheffield United at home? Well, you normally play Patricio, but he's going to be on your bench because Lloris has a double, which is good. Normally, you would play Holding and probably Cody on the bench. So you got Cody at home to Sheffield United. Holding at home to Fulham. That looks good. You're going to play Bruno. You're probably going to play Neto, Son, Jota, and Lingard. And you're probably going to bench Iheanacho. And you'll have Lacazette and Kane as your front two. But Iheanacho has West Brom at home. So it looks pretty good. So yeah. I hope Chelsea won't bottle it this time. My captain is on Azpilicueta. I mean, that's bold. I would say that's definitely bold. But yeah, let me know in the chat who you guys are captaining as well this week, because it's wide open. It's definitely wide open. I'm interested to see what you guys are looking at. Could be a really good thing or a really bad thing. I mean, hey, look, a 1-0 win for Chelsea. Keep it tight. Azpilicueta gets a few bonus points. You're looking at 16 points from your captain. With the armband, obviously. Not too bad. My wildcard guarantees Mendy, Forrester, Phillips, Holding, Diaz, Bruno, Salah, Lingard, You put Bruno twice, by the way. Jota, Iheanacho, and Kane. Yeah, I think a lot of people are pretty much going with that too. A lot of people are pretty much getting that. It's just like with this wild card, the only real it's pretty straightforward in the midfield. Like everyone wants to go Lingard, Jota, Bruno, Salah, and then either a cheap midfielder or Son. And then people are going to go with a differential pick. Like you're either Vardy or Vardy out. Like Vardy's in your team. And it makes it a bit difficult money-wise that way. Or you get rid of... You don't have Vardy. You have Son in your midfield. But you take a punt on somebody like a Mahrez, like a Sterling, that sort of play. And then you get Son for 32. Bruno twice because he's essential for 33. Yeah, facts. Hey, John Wick, how's it going? I am doing fantastic. I'm happy about the transfers that I've made, but yeah, should be good. Are you ever going to do a watch along to the games? Maybe. We might do a watch along. Maybe that's an idea for the downtime for FPL. Maybe that's an idea for the Euros, as an example, like when England plays or something like that, or it's a good clash. That could be interesting. We could definitely do that. I like the idea. Lacazette is the only washy one yet. Any others, or Salah essential? I think Salah's essential, sort of like he's probably the only player that I'm scared of over the next 2 weeks, because I'll have him in 33. England Croatia would be nice. Yeah, makes sense. Is Salah the only guaranteed captain this week? I wouldn't say he's guaranteed as a captain. I think he's very good, but I think Bruno's... Yeah, I mean, Bruno in a away fixture could be good. Kane in a home fixture could be good. You got Wilson, Saka differential picks. We'll already get something. Chelsea defender. Who knows? Any City player that could potentially play. Who knows? Current team is Sanchez with Martinez, Stones, Digne, Cancelo with Constant Burn, Salah, Bruno, Lingard, Gundogan, Pereira, Kane, Bamford, DCL, one free transfer. Planning on saving my transfer. Yeah, I think it's fine. If you want to, if you're just taking a look at what Liverpool, you have Salah there. If you want to get a little bit more look into if you want to potentially invest in a defender, then that's fine too. Want to see what Wolves are potentially made of, the fixture swings and that. Yeah, I like holding it. I wish I could have held a transfer this week, but I went a bit gung ho. On at this point with City, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts. Defenders like Ake, Silva, etc. Like, it doesn't matter at this point. Yeah, I mean, literally anyone could play. Hot shot for a wild card is Benjamin Mendy. Also true. So you have a Jota captain. Are you really confident he'll start? I'm not sure. I'm half tempted to just captain Wilson or Saka, to be honest, and just go full Maverick. Obviously, the vice captaincy is going to be on like Fernandes or Kane, like somebody who I know is going to play. Also, half tempted for Vardy as well, but let me know who you guys think I should captain, to be honest, because I'm all ears. I'm all ears. Are you planning on selling Areola because of his blank, or who are you planning on replacing him? Well, at this moment in time, I think I'm just going to keep Martinez. Because Martinez has only had, I think it was like 6 out of the like 30 games he's played for Aston Villa where he's got 2 or less points. I think it's I think Martinez is going to do fine. Like, I'm like, if I just think they've been weaker defensively. I think I'm half tempted to play Martinez versus City, just because if City go through in the Champions League versus Dortmund, they're gonna have to put a lot of energy into it, and then maybe and then they have what the FA Cup or whatever it is. So maybe Martinez gets off scot-free. Who knows? And then he's got West Brom, Everton, who can't seem to score when they want to, and it's also at Goodison Park, which helps him out. Then he has Man United, which obviously isn't great. Crystal Palace is okay. But then he has a double at some point versus Everton, so I would like to keep him for that as well, if I can. So maybe he's one of the players that I won't necessarily have to bring in for the 35 or 36 double, and I can use my free hit for the game where it's blanks for those players. So we'll see. Yeah, I made Captain Lacazette. Never did that before. That would probably be quite risky too, but I like the upside. Obviously, he's versus the worst team in the league. So yeah. Best 4.1 defender apart from Phillips. Probably nobody. Let's see. Defenders. So holding at 4.2 is okay. Strauk, but probably not really. Kilman's not a starter. Balbuena's not starting. Mitchell maybe, but is he going to keep, hang on to his place? I would say for like maybe a game week or two, but Soyuncu's probably going to be back as like Amarte, but again, I don't think after this week, I don't think it's looking great, basically. It's just, yeah, like you said, it's a bunch of pain. Yeah. It's a bit tough. Bit tough, I would say. Trying to pick somebody out there. Can't wait for Grealish to come back. Who would you rank the best midfielders out of Grealish, Foden, Madison, and Mount in that order? The problem is they all kind of play different roles. If I was saying I needed some type of midfielder, if I was going off just talent alone, I would say Foden and Grealish are probably on par with each other. Then probably Mount, then Madison. If I was going to pick one of them for United's team, I'd probably say Foden, just because he could play out on the right. Foden would be great in United's team, but obviously that would never happen. But if I had to just rank them as players, I would say Foden and Grealish are probably equal for me. I can't really determine. Like, when fully fit, they're both enigmas, basically. They're both, like, when they get the ball, it's like, you never know what they're going to do. And then Mount and then Madison. I think Madison, the injuries have kind of set him back a little bit. Which is why I would take, if you're saying take 3 out of the 4 of those to the Euros. And that was fine. You said you can only take 3 out of 4 of these. I would say Grealish, Foden, and Mount would be the 3 I would take. Because Grealish can do the exact same things that Madison can. Maybe not the set piece, excellent set pieces that he has, but Grealish is still pretty good too. Foden can play a bunch of different places across the front, and then Mount can also play box to box, whereas Madison is kind of, you play him in the 10 and that's it. Imagine Haaland in FPL next season. Oh, if he's a Man City striker next season, he's 100% in my team. Like, guaranteed, 100%. He is... How much does he cost? 20 million? Cool. He's in. My wildcard right now, Mendy, Forster, Holding, Cody, Shaw, Diaz, Phillips, Bruno, Salah, Son, Jota, Lingard, Kane, Nacho, and Vidra. 1.2 million in the bank, saving transfer next round. Seems good to me. Seems good to me. Since Gameweek 1, yeah, he just wouldn't leave the team unless he's injured. Could even go for Lloris instead of Mendy and swap in 33. Yeah, you could do that too. It's not a bad shout. And in 33, I know Fabianski plays Chelsea in 33, so that initial fixture probably wouldn't be good. But Burnley in 34, Everton in 35, Brighton in 36, West Brom in 37, and Southampton in 38. So Fabianski could be quite good too. As a swap, basically. Let's take a little look at the wild cards that we have from Black Box. So this is Az's wild card that he's gone with. So he's gone with a 3-5-2 this week. So his goalkeepers are Mendy and Forster. His defenders are Trent Alexander-Arnold, Antonio Rudiger, Rob Holding, Cody, and Reguilon. Interesting. So he's got Reguilon for the double. He's got Lingard, Jota, Fernandez, Son, and Salah, with Kane, Iheanacho, and Davis as his forwards. I like the team. I like it a lot. I think it's pretty boring-ish in terms of, like, there's no real, like, differential picks, as it were, there. I mean, Reguilon, I guess, but could he, like, if he wants to book in a transfer for the next week, he could, like, not have Son and go for somebody a bit different this week. Maybe he could go for, a Mount or somebody like that. And then get Son the next week. But again, if you're not looking to book in transfers, I think that's fine. He put wildcard team confirmed. Sorry, it's very dull. I've gone with Reguilon in preparation for the double, but we'll be ditching him and Son from Madison and a Leicester defender straight afterwards. So okay, that's what he has to hold a transfer to do that. There's just no mid that I can see under 9.4 million that you would take a punt on. So fair enough on that front. I'm just going to bring up Mark's wildcard team 2. Bring this across. So that's his wildcard team. Fabianski is in my thoughts. Could go for Sanchez instead and Forster and so Lloris for Fabianski in 34. That's possible. Sanchez also plays Sheffield United, I think, in 33, which is good too. Also, if you're looking for a cheap defender like Veltman as an example, wouldn't be a bad shout because he plays Sheffield United in 33. And if you need players to cover for the blank, he's obviously a good one. Are you planning on collabing with other FPL streamers like Andy or FPL Black Box? That would be the dream, but you got to get a good rank for that first. So maybe I just got to come number 1 first, and then we can, work it out that way. Would you change any subs? Patricio, Trent, Cody, Holding, Bruno, Neto, Lingard, Jota, Son, Kane, Captain, Lacazette subs, Iheanacho, Shaw, and Fofana. Probably not, to be honest. I think that looks probably about right. Yeah, I think that's probably about right. Because I think Iheanacho and Lingard are even this week. But yeah. But that means no Chelsea defenders. I mean, Chelsea's fixtures, they have 3 good fixtures left. They have Crystal Palace, which is this week, Brighton, which is next week, and then Fulham in 34. The rest of their fixtures, West Ham away is tough. City away is tough. Arsenal at home, it's a derby. You never know what can happen. Leicester at home, again, they could be fighting each other for that 4th place spot. Aston Villa away, that could be a little bit easier, but that's in the last game of the season. You never know what's going to happen there. Next season is going to be key with a strong start. Personally, this is my first FPL season. I joined in the middle. Yep. As long as you stick with it, you'll get better and better. That's how I see it. Okay, let's look at Mark's wildcard team. So he's going with Mendy and Sanchez as his goalkeepers. which is quite interesting. I'm actually curious to see what the rotation is like for that. So obviously he's going to play Chelsea. He's going to play as goalkeeper for Chelsea in the next two. Then he can play Sanchez in 33. He can then play Mendy in 34. Then he can play Sanchez in 35. Not bad. Then it's kind of pick your poison in 36. 37. Again, pick your poison. But he could make a goalkeeper transfer later on. But Mendy again in 37 is not terrible versus Leicester. And then in 38, he's got, again, it's kind of half and half. So it's only 36 onwards where he really has kind of a half and half. But for the next 5 weeks, he's looking pretty good. In defense, he's gone with Alexander-Arnold, Rudiger, Alonso. I like Alonso. Holding, and Dallas, which is interesting. I guess that's more for the latter stage of the season. In midfield, he's going with Fernandes, Jota, Lingard, Sterling with his captaincy choice this week, and Rafinha. So he's probably going to move Sterling on to somebody. And then he's gone Iheanacho, Kane, and Calvert-Lewin. And his comments were, went to the wildcard in the end to take up the Sterling captain option. We'll go Son for 32, so he's moving Sterling on to Son in 32. Then have the funds in the bank to move for Salah in 33 if I feel the need. Hoping losing Digne and Gundogan doesn't hurt me. Good luck all. I think that was the right choice, I think that was the right choice, in my opinion. And he still kept Alonso, which is fine. I feel like everyone is hyping up Chelsea fixtures. They're alright, but Chelsea is good, but I feel like there are other good picks. I for the next couple, they're fine. Like I said, they only really have 3 good fixtures. Crystal Palace, Brighton, Fulham. In my opinion. Will Lloris outscore Mendy in 31 and 32? What do you reckon? Well, he has a double, so it's definitely possible. But honestly, well, if Chelsea goes back to defending of old, you think they keep 2 clean sheets in 2, right? So Mendy gets 12 points. Lloris has Man United at home, probably not keeping a clean sheet. So let's say he gets, 2 points. Everton away. Let's say he gets 1 clean sheet out of the 2 of these. That's probably about average for the course. So he gets 2 points there, he gets 2 points there, and he gets a clean sheet there. Mendy still wins out. If Mendy keeps 2 clean sheets. And we think that Chelsea will go back to as they were, basically. So it's going to be close, but I think you have better upside with Lloris, maybe. But again, he also blanks, so that's something you have to take into consideration after the double. But he also has 2 good fixtures after the fact, too, versus Leeds and Sheffield United. So it is a bit tricky, I would say. I think it's about even, to be honest. It's just Mendy's fixtures after 33 are, he has Fulham, but it's a rough 4, basically. So, but if you're going Mendy, then after 34, you could just go Fabianski, who has 4 great fixtures. Or even 5 great fixtures, really. Feel like Spurs United has no written all over it. Possible. Definitely possible. Alright. I need to start thinking about what I want for captaincy here. So I'm just going to refresh the team just to make sure nothing's changed. Who should I go for as a captain? I'm half tempted to just put it on Fernandes and just go full Man United this week. And just hope that that United just do a redemption arc here. Because I think this might be one of the very few weeks where Fernandes is a differential captain, which is nuts to think about. Because a lot of people are going to bring in Salah and captain him. If you have Salah, I think him and potentially like De Bruyne or a Man City player, if you can nail them, is probably the best shouts. And I'd rather be safe with... So, like, I think my team as it is risky this week. So, like, last week, I thought the team was going to do quite well. So I thought I could be a little bit riskier with the captain. Whereas this week, I don't think that's the case. I think I have to potentially nail it. So I might just go Fernandez, to be honest. And I'll just put the vice on... Let's put the vice on Kane, because it doesn't really matter. If I'm putting it on Fernandez, it is. Yeah, if you have Salah, I think Salah's probably coming. Hey, Zaka, how's it going? Quick question. Start Fofana or Saiss? Probably Roman Saiss. I would say Saiss. This week, at least. That's who I would go for. Let's actually check out the goals imminent table. So who's on the goals imminent table? So Mason Greenwood's on the goals imminent table, which bodes well for Fernandez. But Salah's on there. Sterling's on there. Alonso's on there. Mane's on there. There's a lot of big names up on there. A lot of big names on there. Let me actually go to my stats tables and take a look at a comparison between the potential big guns for captaincy and see if Fernandez's stats have dropped off. So let's see, we got Kane. So I'm gonna put Kane. I'm gonna put De Bruyne. I'm gonna put Fernandez. I'm gonna put Jota. I'm gonna put Saka in there because I have him. I'll put why not? Let's put Callum Wilson in there. Did I put Salah? No, I didn't. I should put him in there. Last 6 matches. Only show selected players. So the last 6 matches that they played, expected goal involvement, Kane and is by far ahead. And then we have Fernandez is next. So Fernandez's stats haven't gone away, really. He's had 4 big chances. He's created 2 big chances. 4 shots inside the box, which is a lot less, but he's created 18 chances, same amount as De Bruyne. Are you going to play Elitserien Fantasy? I do not know what that is, but I assume it's some type of variation of Fantasy Premier League. I might do the Euro 2020 Fantasy. No, I did the World Cup one once, and that was fun. Norwegian Football League. I have not a scoop. I have no clue about any players in that. So I think that would be a little bit out of my element. Just a little bit out of my element. You can give me advice? Well, I'd be probably going into picking players looking for Solskjaer and Haaland. That's what I would go look for. Just be looking for them. Why can't I pick Solskjaer? I want him up front. But no, I probably won't be playing that, unfortunately. Solskjaer's son? Maybe it's the next best thing. Swapped Mendy out for Lloris. Yeah, I mean, as long as you have... who is your goalkeeper again? Forster? I think Forster blanks in 33, but if you're just changing out somebody and the goalkeeper in 33, then it's fine. I think it's okay. Less than 3 minutes till the deadline. Less than 3 minutes. Sanchez, your reserve. Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's perfectly fine. And Sanchez is nice and cheap, too. Nice and cheap. But, yeah, I think since the team's a little bit on the riskier side, I have the differential in there. I just have to hope that they hit, and then I can go with somebody like Fernandez. I'm going to be... want United to smash Spurs so badly. I want to, like, in terms of football teams that I hated like watching United play the most was the Mourinho teams with Drogba and Lampard in it. That was the most terrifying. Like, if Drogba was on the team sheet, Lampard's on the team sheet, like, United's losing this game because they were just always so good and they beat Sir Alex's teams a lot. So I want us to beat Mourinho more than anyone. So I'm going to be going full Fernandez on this one, I think. Jota, Saka, Wilson, their differential's enough. So and the captaincy's wide open this week. So that's what I'm gonna go with personally. So less than 2 minutes. Make sure you have your bench in the right order, all that sort of stuff. Less than 1 minute now. What I'm actually gonna do while I have it, while I'm thinking of it, is I'm going to take a screenshot of my team while I still can. There we go. Save that. Got 15 seconds left. I nearly triple captain Saka. Oh, that would not have been good. No, save your triple captain for next week when Kane plays 2 teams. Anyway, got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that should be the deadline. And as we do, we keep refreshing until the site breaks. I think the site may have just broken. Yeah, there we go. Figured as much. I figured as much. Gonna triple captain Son next week. That works too. Went back to Mendy, Lloris next round. Hey, whatever you're going for, just make sure you always back your decisions. Because if you always be like, oh well, I made this decision, but I don't really know if I should have done that. Just make sure when it comes to captaincy, you back your decision regardless of effective ownership. You say this person's going to score the most points for me this week. This week it's just a personal vendetta versus Mourinho. I think there's no real outstanding captains in my team, personally. If I had Salah, I would obviously captain Salah. But I think that Fernandez is potentially going to step it up. I mean, he scored last time versus Spurs, technically. He got a penalty. So I hope United can do the business. So yeah, let's move over to the big screen. So yeah, that is it for the FPL deadline stream. We will be back for a preview stream next week on... When are the games end? Monday? So yeah, so we should be back on Monday for the preview stream, and then we'll be back for another deadline as normal next week Friday, because I think it's 3 Friday deadlines in a row, so we'll be back for all of those. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. We'll be doing the normal videos as well, so if you haven't done so, give us a follow on all the socials. Links are in the about section below. And yeah, until the next one, take care.